Hello, everyone. In this session, we will be focusing on user management, one of the most important administrative components of the system. The goal of this session is to help you understand the role of the user management screen in securing and managing ERP access. By the end of this session, you will know how to create, edit, deactivate, and manage user accounts effectively. You will learn how to assign roles and permissions based on organizational responsibility. The intention is that you develop confidence in navigating and using the user management interface. There are some prerequisites that need to be taken care of before going into this training session. You must have a valid URL with admin credentials to start the user creation process. It is important to have a well-organized and approved roles and responsibility chart. This chart will be used to decide which role will be assigned to the user. Make sure roles and organization configuration are completed before setting up a user in the ERP. Let's understand a general definition of a user in any ERP system. A user in an ERP system is a person who has login credentials and access rights. They can perform specific functions within the ERP, and these functions are based on their job responsibilities. Users can be grouped into a few types. End users are regular employees who use the ERP to perform daily tasks. Administrators are IT staff who manage user roles, permissions, and system configuration. External users are customers or vendors with limited access. Examples include access to a vendor portal or customer portal. Service users, such as auditors, need access to the system for verification. Looking at a few examples can help us understand the concept. For example, Sarah is an HR manager in the organization. She is responsible for performing duties such as managing employee records, updating payroll, and approving leave requests. To do so, she must have access to modules like HR payroll recruitment. Secondly, John is an inventory clerk. He is responsible for using the system to check stock levels, update inventory data, and receive goods. He must have access to inventory and procurement modules to perform these activities. Let's visualize how the users, their access, and permissions are handled within the Onfinity ERP. After logging into the system with admin credentials, you need to go to the user management screen. To do that, you click this icon for the menu display. There are multiple ways to open the screen. You can follow the menu path by clicking System Administration. Then, under Security, you will find a User Management screen. Alternatively, you can type User Management directly into the search utility available in the menu, and the system will take you to the screen. Here you can see a list of all existing users, including user ID, email, mobile number, and status. To open the detail view, you can either click the hyperlink on the name or use the grid toggle button. To return to the grid view, click the back button. This screen is used to create users, update users, search for users, check and update their role access, or perform administrative tasks. Examples of these tasks include enabling two-factor authentication, setting the notification type, or deactivating accounts. If login credentials for vendors, customers, or employees need to be created, there is a separate video that covers the initial process of sending the information directly to the user management screen for further action. Let's create a new login user by clicking on the New Record button. You will be prompted to enter the following details: the organization under which the user needs to be linked, then a greeting, followed by first name, last name, and image if required. You will click this button to upload the image. An upload dialog box will open, asking you to upload the image. Click the Choose File button and select the image. Once you have selected the image, click the OK button. The supervisor is the reporting manager of the user. Next, the system will ask for contact numbers with the corresponding country code. The user ID should be unique. It will be the login name for VNOD. The email address field is used to receive system-generated notifications for various functionalities. These functionalities include workflow management and alert management. Initially, the system sends a password reset notification email to the user. The login user will be automatically checked by the system once a password setting email is sent to this user for initial setup. Onfinity considers the security of user credentials an utmost priority. Therefore, we have the option of two-factor authentication, which will provide an additional secure code that needs to be entered while logging into the system. This can prevent password misuse or leakage incidents. You can also enable single sign-on, which is SSO, if your organization uses LDAP. This allows users to log in with their usual Office credentials. There is a separate detailed video covering how to set up the LDAP configuration. Next, we have the notification type, which defines how a user receives system notifications. Available options include email notification, system notification, or a combination of email and notice. If a user does not want to receive notifications, the None option should be selected. Besides the notification type, we have the Email Allowed checkbox. This is also used for email notifications. If a user only wants to receive notifications by email, they can select this checkbox directly, instead of choosing a combination of notification types. So, for a notification to be sent, one of the following conditions must be met. The user's notification type is set to a valid combination, or the Email Allowed checkbox is enabled. If both are selected, then the notification will be sent to both locations. The SMS Allowed checkbox indicates that the system is permitted to send SMS messages to the user's mobile number. As specified in the user management screen, SMS messages are sent from the SMS screen or page, which is opened from the Action panel. The SMS functionality depends on the SMS configuration in the system. We will have a separate video covering this in detail. Email user ID and email user password are required when sending emails from the system. The system will use the basic SMTP details configured in the tenant screen, along with the user email credentials from their account. However, if SMTP server details are defined in the user mail configuration screen, those details will take priority and be used instead. A push notification option, if set to true, enables the user to receive notifications through the Onfinity mobile application. A separate video will explain the notification setting group specifically. Once all the required information is filled in, click the Next button to proceed. A user must have at least one role assigned to log into the system. This can be done using the Link Roles subtab, where roles are assigned to the user. The system allows you to link multiple roles to a single user. After logging in, the user selects one of the assigned roles to continue. Based on the selected role, the user can access screens and perform activities permitted through the process forms and screens configured under that role in the role window. A separate video explains how the roles work in detail. For example, a sales executive can create orders and view customer information. An inventory clerk might manage stock entries and receipts. Make sure to assign the role that matches the employee job function. In our case, Venad is an inventory clerk, so we will assign that role to him. You can either type the role name directly or filter it out from the dialog box. You can deactivate the access given to the user by unchecking the active checkbox and saving the changes. As a result, the user will not be able to use the functions assigned under the inventory clerk role. You can also delete the access record by using the Delete button available on the left action toolbar. Since this is a learning environment, you can perform this action to see the result. However, in a production environment, this option is usually disabled due to audit and compliance guidelines. Once everything is linked, click the Next button. Here we assign organization access to the user. When this user logs into the system, he will see these assigned organizations. The organization access depends on the settings applied at the user level or role level. Let's quickly see the option available on the role screen to understand the configuration. You can search for the role from the menu. We will see the details of the role that we have assigned to our user. VNOD, which is Inventory Clerk. Under the Access group, there is a checkbox called Use User Org Access. If this checkbox is enabled, the system will consider all the organization assignments for the user from the user management screen. If this checkbox is not enabled, the system will instead use the organization access defined in the role screen under its Organization Access sub-tab. You can find a separate detailed video on this topic, which covers the different ways of handling organization access in the Onfinity ERP. Now, coming back to our user setting, you can add multiple organizations for a single user. However, this depends on the job responsibility of the user, whether they are allowed multiple access or not. This setting will help the user to deal with cross-organizational information based on the access given, either read-write or read-only access. With read-only access, a user can view the configuration and transactions of the organization. With read-write access, amendments of the records are allowed. We have now completed the steps required to set up a user in the system. Click Next to configure the BI user setting. Onfinity has a BI reporting feature. To access the BI report, BI user settings are required. Because this is an optional tab, we are not going to configure it now. Then click Finish. The system will send a reset email password notification to the user's email address. Alternatively, you can use the Activate User button in the right top header panel of the Header tab. Upon clicking, you can see the message that a mail has been sent to the user's email address to create a password. An automatic email will be sent to the user's inbox, which is required for setting up their password for login. Please note that the email will be sent to the mentioned email ID. So, please enter a correct, valid email so that the system does not face any challenges in sending the password setting email. Here is the email format the user would receive for resetting their password. The email contains a thank you message along with the link to reset the password. The user needs to click the hyperlink received in the email and enter the password. Enter the password. Confirm the password and click the Submit button. Once done, the credentials are ready to be used. Now let's try to log in with the newly created credentials, and we will also double-check the access we gave to this user while setting up. Click the hyperlink, and the system will redirect you to the exact link for which the credentials were set. Enter the username and password. Then click on the Login button. We have enabled two-factor authentication for this user, which is why the system is now asking for the setup of two-factor authentication. You can scan this QR code using the Google Authenticator application on your mobile device. After scanning, an auto-generated code will be generated, which needs to be entered here. If the user doesn't have the Authenticator app on their mobile, or wants to set it up later, they can skip this step, and a Skip This Time button will be shown. However, if the Authenticator is configured, the system will require this code every time the user logs in. For now, we can use Skip This Time. Because we are logging in for the first time, the system will prompt us to select the role, organization, and other additional information like warehouse, which is an optional selection. The information we are seeing here in the drop-down is coming from the access we granted this user during creation. Once everything is filled in, click the Login button. The home page of Onfinity will be displayed. Because this is a new user and we are just setting up the system, no widgets are visible. Each module provides its own widgets, which automatically fetch data based on their functionality. If a widget is marked as default and the user login role has access to it, that widget will be displayed on the user dashboard. In the top right corner, we have a profile section where the system shows basic login information such as organization, roles, and warehouse. Additionally, you can apply a filter among your accessible organizations to view only filtered organization data on the screens. Currently, we don't need this filter because we just created a new account. Onfinity also offers features to change the role after login. For example, if the user has logged in with the role Inventory Clerk and wants to switch to another role, such as Warehouse Executive, they can click the role field and select the new role. The system will then show the organization and other details for the selected role. Click the Change button to switch to the new role. Now, let's see what to do if the login account password needs to be changed or got locked due to numerous failed login attempts. If an account is blocked due to incorrect password entry or expiration, the user will need to contact the admin to reset the password. By default, the system allows up to 5 wrong login attempts and a password validity of 3 months. When this time frame is close to ending, the system will ask the user to update the password while logging in. However, if the user wants to change the current password, they can do so through the Reset Your Password process, which is available in the menu. Let's open the Reset Your Password process from the menu. The user just needs to enter the old password and the new password, and click the OK button. The new password will then be active for the account. Coming back to our admin access, the user accounts can be set to active or inactive. If a user leaves the company and no longer requires access to the system, their account should be deactivated, and the login user checkbox should be unchecked. This is to maintain security and ensure license compliance. To do this, open the user management screen, select the user, simply uncheck the login user checkbox and the active checkbox, and save the changes. Once the user unchecks the login user checkbox, it cannot be checked manually again. The user has to activate the user first, save the changes, and then click the Activate User button to make it a login user again. To summarize, the User Management Master screen helps you maintain secure and organized user access. It helps you assign the right roles to the right people. It also helps you protect your ERP data through access control. That concludes this session. Thank you for attending.